Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Friday, September the 29th. The year's 2023. Let's talk trading. It's time for the weekly wrap-up. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. And you know what? It's also time for the monthly wrap-up. I just realized that. And the last day of the month, I want to remind you, always remember, never forget, that you must have your risk management in place. Never lose more than you're willing to lose on any one particular trade. So we're going to take a look here at the weekly. We are 7.3 pips, or actually we're 7 pips above the weekly open. If you look at the dashboard, you can see all of the gaps have filled. 25 pips off the high, 136 off of the low for the week. Taking a look at the daily, you can see we broke out of the opening range for the week today. And you can see here on Tuesday, we broke out the opening range to the downside. Today, we did it to the upside. So, weekly open range traders, you know, what's the story that we tell? That price has to break out of that weekly opening range, you know, unless maybe it's a super big candle, but it usually doesn't happen that way on a Monday. So usually don't have that much red news on Mondays. So that's the story we tell, and you can see here that story would have paid off both times. For the monthly, we got awfully close to the yearly open. We have a monthly low of 21,096, and you can see it's 20, then 892, as in 20892. So we got really close to that yearly open. We're now 164 pips above it. So I don't know if anybody was paying attention to that, but that would have been a really nice trade to go long on the buy zone, the yearly buy zone. Inside bar, we have some action here, not much on the daily. You got a lot of inside bar there on the monthly though. And in fact, you can see the pound is in the inside bar, the monthly inside bar that happened 7 months ago. And if you just want to see what that looks like, there's that inside bar. The range, we had some red news today, but so far in the pound, only 82 pips. But we've got 3, 7, 8 pairs over 100 pips in range. So the range is, for a red day, is kind of muted on the pound dollar. You know, and that's a story that we tell ourselves. You know, all these things are stories. You know, that the range needs to be, you know, or will be a certain level. And usually on the pound, it's usually over 100 pips. Buy zone. You can see here, at the beginning of the day, we hit the short area, but you had to take your pips quick before the market takes it back. You know, I'm just saying, we talked about that range. It seems like the daily average true range here is only 74 on the pound. So it looks like some of those stories didn't work. And now I just noticed that the pound came down into the 40 levels, now back at the 50. That's another story, the launch pad. In the buy zone, it's another story with the weekly or daily open crossing over being a story. You know, trade away from the daily open, trade away from the weekly open as opposed to towards it. Well, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. That's just trading. But those are, once again, these weekly open crossovers. In fact, Walmart and I were trading right before and right during the red news today. And I shouted out to Walmart, hey, Walmart, we just had a weekly open crossover. Because on my other account, it was dead at 22.40. I think his was at 22.48. Because weekly opens can differ between brokers, but that's why I always say you got to trade what you see, not what somebody else sees, but what you see, because it's your account on your chart. That's what you have to use. But once again, the buy zone would have paid off, and here the weekly buy zone would have paid off. Rat zone, which is another story we tell ourselves, that the price is going to hit a high and then retrace. It's going to hit a low and then retrace or rebound or bounce off of. And that's a story that can make you some money. You can see here in the rat zone, we've popped out of it a couple of times and we're right back in it. And we just have to, once again, trade what we see. Bambino Flex Indicator said to go long, which was on the money today. Bias near the pivot is long. We missed that pivot. Bias near S1. We came nowhere near S1. So R1 was a short, but it only looks like that happened once. And if you would have taken it right here at the 44, you would have had your fingers burnt. And it's funny because I was telling Walmart I don't like to go short in the launch pad, and I had a short and it came down to the launch pad and I got out, and then of course it ran for another 4 or 5 pips. But Walmart said, well, you know what, you did right, because that's the way you trade, and you'd be mad if it would have won against you. So it's better to be mad with the profit than mad with the loss, which is another story that we tell. There's just so many stories that we tell surrounding trading. And we got the monthly pivot. We missed it in August, but we took out the weekly pivot, 22.97. We haven't hit this week, and we didn't hit last week's. And the daily, we missed it. You can see yesterday we took out that missed pivot, and today we took out this missed pivot. So a lot of missed pivots being taken out. So for the month of September, though, looks like we've got 2 missed pivots still on the chart. Wick zone, in and out of that upper wick zone, which is actually to the downside and then to the upside, which is a story that we tell ourselves, that price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. Now, this story happens to be backed up with some statistics. So I don't know if this is really, it's not really a story when you have statistics to back it up. That's why I like to be a statistical trader and trade statistics. Now let's take a look at the smart ranges across the week. So far this week, we only have 161 pips. That is at the 8th percentile over the last 12 weeks. That's just nothing. We still have some time left today in the trading day. We've got about 6 hours left. So it could expand. Anything can happen. We did not break out of the last week's high, but we did break out of last week's low by 120 pips. So anybody doing the weekly wick zones would have been paid off. And high minus close for the rats right now, we're at 9 pips. Close minus low for the green rats, we're at 153. For the buy zone traders, high minus open on the weekly, 32. Open minus low, 130. And so you can see here that average over the last 12 weeks, average range is only 82. But the ATR here is 216. Now that's interesting. Real interesting. We must have had some big weeks for that to happen. Okay, so right now we're looking at the 30-minute chart here. And the 50 line, psychological line, story we talked about yesterday, I believe. And I was really itching to short 60. I really wanted to short that, but I'm making videos. Not supposed to trade and make videos. Especially when you're a scalper. That would have been good for about 3 pips right there, though. But you can see here, we hit the 50, we moved up to the 70, and then we moved down to 35 during that news trade. Let's just take a quick look at M1 to see what was going on here. And if you're wondering, these vertical lines that are magenta, those are outside bars, and the vertical lines that are aqua, those are inside bars. Wow, that 60 short would have really been nice. But as you can see here, during the video, price got all the way down to the launch pad, launched up to the 60. Pips to be had. Once again, story that I tell myself, oh, I'm kicking myself for not taking that 60 short just then. But like I said, had to have some discipline. Don't trade while making videos because you're distracted. 3-ball, three ball. That's a story we tell ourselves. You can see here from this 3-ball, we did a 50% retrace, and we're right back down to that 50% level. And the funny thing is, this 50% level is kind of a no man's land, because it can go either way. Of course, it can go either way at any level, but it's kind of like you don't really have a bias because you're right between the 3 balls. So which way is it going to go? You can follow it, take a candle color. You can use something else to gauge it, but I don't like to enter trades in the middle here. Looks like we're coming right back down to the launch pad. And you see here, we've got this big candle. That's considered a return bar, which is a story that we tell ourselves. So price needs to get back to this open. So fellow traders, we're going to take a quick look here. The range for the month is 603. And let's take a look at the year-to-date accumulated, because I don't think we've changed it. Nope, we're still at 1340. So, fellow traders, very interesting week. Told a lot of stories. I'm going to probably keep telling stories continuing on the next month. So I'm going to wish you all a fun and safe weekend. I hope you had a profitable day, have a profitable week, profitable month, profitable year, profitable quarter. And so when you come back to trading, always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.